Wrestling fans, remember this night, December the 2nd, 2020. This is a night that professional wrestling fans will never forget anytime soon. Hello, friends, and welcome to this latest installment of Wednesday Night Mayhem. Don't adjust your audio. Yes, it is indeed. It is indeed I, Anthony Florio, sitting in tonight for good old MF Michael Fletcher. Commitments beyond his control. Dee Woodson doesn't usually do this show much anymore. So with that being said, myself and Michael Bullock here, the Phenom, he and I will guide you through this unforgettable night, to say the very least. And that was more so on the AEW side. Now, if you didn't hear MF's decree the other night as we went off the air for Ridiculously Raw, you know what the announcement is. For this week only, because of the magnitude of AEW Dynamite, we're gonna review AEW Dynamite second, and we are gonna review NXT first. And tonight's NXT, as always, from the Capitol Wrestling Center at the formerly known as the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, on the USA Network as usual. The go home show for this Sunday's NXT Takeover War Games, including another big War Games match, advantage match on the ladies' side, which served as our main event this evening. And Wade Barrett back on commentary this week, and he was back with Vic Joseph, and they did their thing, and of course at the start of the show, they all of the talent in NXT, they all came out and they stood on the ramp and they paid their respects. I'm sure you heard the news today that WWE Hall of Famer and the first ever Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, Pat Patterson, he passed away this morning. We were informed of this by Dee Woodson in our Wrestling Forum Messenger chat. And I think we should hold off on the tribute until maybe Friday night, when all of us will be here. So this way, all of us can give our thoughts and pay our respects and share our favorite moments of Pat Patterson, best known as the first ever Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. Back in 1979, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, he won a tournament, but he was known for more than that. If it wasn't for this man, the match that we all know and love, the Royal Rumble, if it wasn't for Pat Patterson, that match would not even exist. The pay-per-view wouldn't even exist without Pat Patterson, because Pat Patterson was the man responsible for coming up with the concept of the Royal Rumble match. So send your thank yous to Pat Patterson, because he's the man responsible for creating the Royal Rumble match. And we all know the legacy of the Rumble match, which is so massive that we now have a women's Royal Rumble match as well. So we cannot wait to see how that will look come next month for the Royal Rumble. But we're gonna. I think we should wait until Friday night to do the tribute. So this way, I'm sure MF and Dee will be back with us on Friday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, and we'll pay our respects then. This way, all of us can give our thoughts. So with all that being said, that's what happened. Everybody came out, paid their respects to Pat Patterson, and rightfully so. I mean, the man has done so much for the business, and he is sorely going to be missed. No doubt about that. So we are going to dedicate this show tonight to the memory of Pat Patterson. So this one's for you, sir. That's all I can say on that. The man who served as the referee for the main event of WrestleMania 1 with Hulk Hogan and Mr. T against Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, with Muhammad Ali serving as the outside enforcer. And those two are going to be reunited up there once Patterson gets there. So rest in peace, good sir, and thank you for everything that you did for the world of professional wrestling. So with that being said, this one's for you, sir. NXT, and we started things off with a tag team matchup. A very interesting tag team matchup, to say the very least. We had the North American champion Leon Ruff teaming up with one of his challengers in the big triple threat match, Damian Priest, and they went up against the cruiserweight champion Santos Escobar and another member of Legado del Fantasma, Raul Mendoza, and it was Ruff and Priest who picked up the win in 12 minutes and 21 seconds. I would probably say this was the second best fight of the night here. I mean, I could probably give this about 3.25 to 3.5 stars for the effort. Johnny Gargano, Damian Priest, and Leon Ruff continue to be the highlight of NXT over the past month or so. The highlight of this bout was actually Johnny Gargano on commentary, who was throwing in hilarious one-liners. But the only gripe I have here is NXT feeding Legado del Fantasma to the makeshift tag team. NXT has done a solid job protecting Legado to where I thought they could have thrown together any undercard tag team here. But still, I mean, it was a fine effort for what we had here tonight, and hold on a minute. Yep, okay. The pre-show attack to set this up robbed Kurt Stallion of his debut, but Ruff and Priest made for an interesting one-time combination. Johnny Gargano, great on commentary as the antagonist who is still bitter about losing the North American Championship. He knows his character, plays it perfectly. Legado del Fantasma looked like the more cohesive unit, but that is to be expected from a group with a lot more experience working together. This bout could have been better, but it was good enough to keep the viewers' interest. So, I'd give it about maybe 3.25, 3.5, but 3.25 teetering on 3.5. How about that? So, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, first things first, have you recovered from AEW, first of all? And number two, your thoughts on this match?
Boy, it's going to take a little bit for me to recover from everything that we saw with AEW, but we'll get into it when we get there. But as far as this match goes, I agree. This is a 3.25, 3.5 star match. I mean, I thought it's very interesting to put Ruff and Priest in a tag team match days before they face off along with Johnny Gargano in that triple threat North American title match. But I thought both sides looked really good. So yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more to add to it. So let's move right along, Florio, and I'm going to lead off on this.
Indeed, you are. But remember, there are times there are cutouts on this. Let's not forget that. And this was one of them. We had Cameron Grimes squaring off against August Gray. Cameron Grimes won the match 2 minutes and 21 seconds. Since MF gave me the keys to this card tonight, I'm calling cutout. I'm sorry, I don't care. So we're just going to move on from it. Although it was a solid enhancement match for Grimes. That's all I can say. So, but anyways, we had Jake Atlas squaring off against the premier athlete, Tony Nese. Yes, Tony Nese. He was in action against Atlas, and Jake Atlas picks up the win in 5 minutes and 20 seconds. So Bullock, I'm going to leave this up to you. Do you want to take this for a spin, or do you want to move on? 5:20.
Move on.
Okay. Now, it was good stuff from Atlas and a decent enough promo from him afterwards, and that's really all there was to say on that. And bear with me, folks, because I'm having slowness issues on my end, and a lot of the stuff that I have here is going wonky. So I do apologize for that. So all right, Bullock, I know you're going to want to get into this because even though he's not your favorite, we had Pat McAfee and the Kings of NXT. McAfee with Pete Dunne and the tag team champions Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, and he cuts a promo about the big War Games match coming up. So Bullock, I mean, I know you don't like Pat McAfee. I know he's public enemy number one to you, and that's fine and dandy. But damn it to hell, the man can cut a damn good heel promo, and this was really, really good tonight. I'm sorry.
Do I really have to talk about this piece of crap?
No, you don't have to. I mean, I know you're not a fan, so if you want me to just take this for a spin, I'll take it for a spin.
No. I mean, I'm gonna be a professional here. I mean, this is just me personally, but
of course,
because I'm a professional, I'm gonna talk about it. So,
okay.
This was a really good promo here. I mean, Pat McAfee. I mean, being the typical, as we like to say, Florio douchebag guy. I mean, basically, like you said, he cuts a damn good promo, hyping this big War Games matchup against the Undisputed Era, claiming that him and his guys are gonna end them once and for good. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this. And in closing, Florio, I hope this pretty boy douchebag gets what's coming to him.
I know you do. And perhaps on Sunday night he will. We'll have to wait and see on that. But man, this was really good. That was a really good promo that he cut there at the end of this, and I'm trying to get this stuff up here, but nothing doing. But I'll try this as best as I can. So really good pay-per-view selling promo by Pat McAfee, who continues to kill it on the mic. He's not doing anything new. He's just doing all the old stuff really damn good. What McAfee is doing that a lot of heels forget is go after the fans, making people want to see him get his. One of the easiest ways to get someone to hate you is to offend them. And that's what McAfee did really well when addressing the fans directly. Let's not forget, too, McAfee is also pretty good as a heel in the ring, so that adds more hype to Sunday's War Games match. Simple and effective go-home promo by McAfee. So, segment of the night. That's all I can say. Grizzled Young Veterans versus Imperium. This is a match that you would usually see in NXT UK, but we got it here on NXT USA here tonight. And when all was said and done, unfortunately, the match ends in a no contest in 10 minutes and 47 seconds. But
and it's because of that damn Everrise.
Yeah. Now you know why I hate those guys, right, Bullock?
Huh. They're the total definition of a couple of pretty boy hair gel wearing douchebags.
Amen to that. And plus, the guys can't work. I mean, the guys are...
And they can't even freaking wrestle.
Nope. Absolutely not. And, but, that's just how it is. And, but it's going to be an NA for this. That was a really good back and forth match. I hated Everrise there, but the screwy finish, it protected Imperium. They could have been fed to Grizzled Young Veterans, but why damage Imperium when you're struggling to find tag teams on the roster? Grizzled Young Vets selling a lot was fine because they presented Imperium as credible without just having them be enhancement jobbers. And Everrise will probably job to both of these teams in the coming weeks. But the tag team division is looking up, though. They have some teams being built up, not to mention they might even bring in the Rascals, who just signed with WWE. Maybe we could also see Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz being strong singles guys. So we'll have to wait and see. But Bullock, I know you'll agree with me. This was an NA match, even though it was a really good match.
Yeah, it was a really good match, but damn it, Everrise had to freaking ruin it. It was getting so good, and then you had these two show up. Ugh.
I know.
I can't stand that. I mean, yeah, you pretty much touched on it, so I think it's the main event, Florio.
Let's see. I think it might be. Let me see here. Well, then we had a Timothy Thatcher thing. Even though I love him, we're not going to get into that. Yes, Bullock, you're absolutely right. It is the big main event here. Same way we had it last week, only this time we have the women doing it. A ladder match for the War Games advantage. Shotzi Blackheart versus Raquel Gonzalez. And when all was said and done, the winner of the match in 14 minutes and 37 seconds, Shotzi Blackheart, which means Team Shotzi gets the one woman advantage going into the women's War Games match on Sunday night. And Michael Bullock, I mean, you called this. I mean, you said that you felt that Io Shirai was going to be the fourth and final member of Team Shotzi, and if what we saw at the end of this night wasn't any indication, then tell me what is. Change my mind.
Well, it's official. It is confirmed, Florio. Io Shirai is now officially the fourth member of Team Shotzi, and all I can say is, Florio, if you had to ask me who has the advantage, I gotta say it. You gotta go with Team Shotzi. I mean, you got Shotzi Blackheart, you got Ember Moon, you got the badass and Rhea Ripley, and the genius of the sky, Io Shirai. Yeah, all I can say to Team Candice LeRae, I don't like your chances here. I mean, I know you're gonna put up a good effort, but yeah, good luck against that foursome there. So yeah, this was definitely the fight of the night. Um, I will give this 3 3/4 to of a star. I mean, this was definitely a good match, a good way to close it out, and yeah, no big surprise, obviously, with Io Shirai joining them. So this definitely is going to make this women's war game one that's everybody's going to keep an eye on here. I mean, I'm definitely going to have my eyes on this one. So there's really nothing more to say. Florio, Team Shotzi is complete, and I gotta say, they look real good. I give them the advantage. What says you?
Agreed. I mean, how do they not have the advantage? I mean, but let's address the elephant in the room here. This was the fight of the night. 3 3/4 of a star. I agree with the rating. Decent enough ladder match. I'm still not sure why this had to be a ladder match, though. I also have to call it a success every time Shotzi gets out of a match without nearly killing herself. There were a few spots here where that could have happened, but this was entertaining for a TV main event. But last week's ladder match with Kyle O'Reilly and Pete Dunne was way better. And I think NXT has to maybe not waste their ladder matches on preliminary stipulation bouts down the road. The Io Shirai thing, I kind of saw that coming. They would have been better off announcing her on maybe social media as opposed to this unsurprising surprise. But I also had the feeling they were going to go with Shotzi winning here just to differentiate themselves from last week's predictable outcome in O'Reilly versus Dunn, where the heels usually go in with the advantage in the War Games match. But that's really all I can say on this. So for me, I have to say this was 3 3/4 of a star, and it was indeed the fight of the night. So with that, we're gonna go into our overall review here, and I'm going to start things off here. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 for the effort. I mean, it was nowhere near as good as what we're about to get into in just a moment, but nonetheless, though, we did have some good matches, though. But I mean, even though it was an entertaining show that moved along nicely and it was a quality show, nothing about this show was remotely special or even really all that memorable, unlike the other show we're about to get into. So that's really all I can say on this. I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10 for the effort. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, give us a quick thought, and then we'll get into the epicness that was tonight's AEW Dynamite.
Yeah, 7 out of 10 for me. I mean, obviously they had a lot to work with, especially with AEW tonight. I mean, they had. I mean, it was a good show. I mean, could have been better, absolutely. So there's really nothing more to say except Florio. It's time. It's time to talk about one of the most highly anticipated AEW Dynamites in recent memory.
Oh, my. Yes, indeed. Winter is coming. It came. Oh, boy, did it come. The most anticipated episode of AEW Dynamite since the show's inception, October the 2nd of 2019. And we started things off with the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royale. In the match, as far as who the competitors were, in no particular order: Miro, Hangman Adam Page, John Silver, Scorpio Sky, Sean Spears, Mark Quinn, Isaiah Cassidy, Kip Sabian, Matt Sydal, Serpentico, Jungle Boy, Luther, Alex Reynolds, Orange Cassidy, Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara, Joey Janela, Lee Johnson, the reigning Dynamite Diamond ring winner, MJF, and Wardlow. And the rules are simple. The last two men standing in this match will go on to face each other for the Dynamite Diamond Ring next week on Dynamite. When all was said and done, the winner of the match in hoping I have it here. In approximately 12 minutes and 19 seconds, MJF and Orange Cassidy. Whew. Wow. Great way to start it off. I mean, battle royals are what they are. A mass of bodies kicking and punching their way to elimination. This was above average in that it furthered several ongoing storylines and highlighted Miro in a way he had not been to this point. The artist, formerly known as Rusev, tore the match up, scoring elimination after elimination and looking as dominant as he has in either WWE or AEW in years. He was a beast tonight and absolutely should be put in a position to build on the momentum of his performance. Matt Hardy's heel turn manifested itself in the sneaky elimination of Isaiah Cassidy. MJF's cerebral manipulation of his fellow Inner Circle member Sammy Guevara continued. And Wardlow appears ready to snap his charge in half at any given moment. Those stories helped prop this one up and elevate it beyond the standard fare. I am going to give this a solid 3 to 3.25 stars. A great way to start off what ended up being a very memorable night. So, Michael Bullock, MJF, he's got a chance to maybe add another ring or keep the ring he's already got, but he's going to have one tough challenge in front of him with freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy going after him. So Michael Bullock, come on in. Here you go. Next week, it's going to be MJF putting the diamond on the line against freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. How about it?
And I'll tell you this, Florio, if MJF takes Orange Cassidy lightly, he'd be making a huge mistake here. I mean, say what you want about the guy, but he can certainly bring it. So, yeah, 3 to 3.25 stars. I agree with you. I mean, this was definitely a great way to start it off. I mean, yeah, the heel turn for Matt Hardy was there was something there. I mean, and obviously Miro and Kip Sabian were none too pleased about it, and obviously the best friends came to his defense. So I think the best friends and Miro and Kip Sabian, that rivalry, I think is far from over. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. Florio, let's move on.
All right, and we move on to our next match, and oh boy, this is a dream match for me. This is a match that I have wanted to see for a long time, and we finally got it here tonight. It was Frankie Kazarian of SCU squaring off against Le Champion, Chris Jericho, and when all was said and done in that, just bear with me for a moment as I'm trying to get it on my thing here. Winner of the match in approximately 10 minutes and 58 seconds, Chris Jericho. He wins it with the Judas effect. But Michael Bullock, like we said the other night, there was more to this than met the eye here. All the members of the Inner Circle, MJF and Wardlow, Guevara, Hager, Santana, Ortiz, they we definitely saw we definitely saw a lot of dissension among the ranks here, and Chris Jericho, sick and tired of it, saying we're going to have an ultimatum: either we can get along and be a team, or the Inner Circle is done for good. You got to
Yeah,
have some.
that's a ma-
You got to have some
that's a ma-
serious thoughts on this, man.
yeah, that's a major situation there. Obviously, there have been problems ever since MJF and Wardlow became part of the Inner Circle when MJF beat Chris Jericho. And another thing, obviously, Sammy Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz, they don't trust MJF, and quite frankly, I don't blame them, especially with some of the dirty things he can do. So Chris Jericho is obviously getting sick and tired of it. So he says next week I'm going to issue an ultimatum: either we get along, or the team will be no more. So as far as the match goes, I'll give it a solid 3 stars for the effort here. So nothing more to say. Florio, it is yours.
Agreed. Definitely a 3-star match. Frankie Kazarian was working at a whole different speed than Jericho, and while there was nothing inherently wrong with the match, the difference in paces was abundantly clear the longer the match went on. Why the match went as long as it did when it was mostly just the background for the latest drama within the Inner Circle is another question entirely. But this did what it set out to accomplish: set up the ultimatum for next week's show. The tension between Guevara and MJF is real, and it would not be surprising whatsoever if the Spanish God figures into MJF's match with Orange Cassidy next week for the Dynamite Diamond. But regardless, it feels as though Guevara could be on the outside looking in at a faction he was once such a key member of. I agree with your rating, Bullock. This was a solid 3 stars, maybe 3.25. So not much more to say. We move on. Women's action. We had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, accompanied by Reba, aka Rebel, for all you Impact Wrestling fans out there, against the legitimate Leela Hirsch. And when all was said and done here, the winner of the match in, just bear with me as I get the time of the fall. I do know Dr. Britt Baker won the match. Just trying to find the time of the fall here. 8 minutes and 41 seconds. Dr. Britt Baker wins the match, and she got it on. She did it with the lockjaw. She held on to it a little while longer, and then Thunder Rosa showed up, and that's all there was to say on this. 2.5 stars. Again, a large portion of the women's match was conducted during the commercial break. With that said, Hirsch and Baker worked well together, and the reversals and counters late were a nice touch. The finish was a bit disjointed with the delay by Hirsch and Rebel hopping on the ring apron for no apparent reason, but it led to the right competitor going over. The post-match brawl was fantastic and creates instant buzz for a Baker Thunder Rosa match. That match is exactly the type of secondary rivalry this division should have been built on from the beginning. But 2.5 stars. I would say maybe by default this was the worst fight of the night. So even though there wasn't anything remotely wrong with it, but it is what it is, and the women, still a work in progress. But eventually they'll get there. So not much more to say on this. So Michael Bullock, Dr. Britt wins the match, but Thunder Rosa comes in. So it looks like a Britt Baker Thunder Rosa feud down the line. If so, sign me up. I'm in.
Yeah, it looks like we're heading down the line for Dr. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. I mean, yeah, I'll give it 2.5 stars. And by default, it was the worst fight of the night. Obviously, I mean, even though there wasn't anything really that bad about it. Obviously, Rebel got involved to help Dr. Britt Baker get the win, and then Thunder Rosa comes out and takes care of her. So yeah, so I'm definitely up for a Dr. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa match somewhere down the line. So there's really nothing more for me to say. So Florio, it is yours.
All right. And now for the rest of the show, we get nothing but shocks. This is really where the show kicked into high, right here and right now. Next up, we had a tag team matchup. We had the TNT champion Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes squaring off against two members of Team Taz, Ricky Starks, and the newest member of Team Taz, Powerhouse Hobbs. And bear with me for a moment as I got to find the time of the fall here. My notes that I'm using didn't have it, so I'm just gonna find it from another venue here. Just give me one moment. I'll get the time of the fall for you. We do know that Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes won the match. That's for sure. I know that for a fact. I just got to get the time of the fall here. It's loading very slowly. All right. 10 minutes and 32 seconds. Darby Allin, Cody Rhodes, they win the match in 10 minutes and 32 seconds. Darby Allin with a coffin drop and a pinfall on Ricky Starks. But then after the match, Taz comes in, Brian Cage, and it looks like it looks like Team Taz were gonna beat the holy what out of both Darby and Cody. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the lights go out, and we're thinking, okay, something's going on here. What the hell's going on here? And then when all the lights came on, Tony Schiavone said it all. It's Sting. Oh.
Are you freaking kidding me?
That's right, folks. Sting is all elite. What? Oh my God. They said this was going to be the biggest Dynamite show ever, and that put it over the top right there. That alone put it over the top. I don't know what else there is to say. The match, I think I start this one off, right?
Actually, I think I do, because I think you let off on the.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. I did. Yeah, forgive me for that little botcheroo there. I'm just so damn excited over this. So not much more to say. Bullock, time of the fall was 10 minutes and 32 seconds. Allin and Rhodes win the match, but who the hell cares about the damn match? Sting in AEW? Are you kidding me?
Well, first off, 3 stars on the match, but who cares? I mean, the big story, Sting is all elite. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, who in the world saw this coming? Did you, Florio? I mean, you're the one that always says, "Oh, I mean,
Absolutely not. Not on your damn life. No.
this literally shocked everybody. I mean, I didn't even know about this. I mean, when the lights went out and he came out, I'm sitting there like, are you kidding me?" And then all of a sudden, we hear that Tony Khan has officially signed Sting to a multi-year deal. So Sting is officially all elite. Oh my. But now the question is, what kind of a role is he going to have? I really don't know, but damn it to hell, I don't care. I mean, man, Florio, I mean, I don't know what else is there to say. This is definitely, we said this was going to be a historic night, and this definitely helped out big time.
It put it over the top. And what else is there to say except there is something about Tony Schiavone exclaiming "It's Sting" that warms the soul and takes the viewer back to their childhood. Sting arriving as snow fell, making the save for Cody, Dustin, and Darby was a great way to welcome him to the AEW family. And the stare down with Arn Anderson was a great touch of nostalgia. We all remember that because of his rivalry with Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen 30 years ago. But the question is whether Team Taz gained anything whatsoever from this ordeal. Hobbs and Starks are two major cogs of AEW's bright future, and ditto to Brian Cage. Team Taz lost the match, then bailed out of the ring when Sting arrived, despite a distinct numbers advantage. It was curious use of them, but if they get to share the screen with someone of Sting's stature, it will benefit them in the long run, at least theoretically. Still, special appearances by Sting will never, ever not be cool. The key will be for AEW to ensure those appearances remain special and the legend does not become overexposed at the expense of the foundation of the company's future. I agree with your rating on the match, Bullock, a solid 3 stars. So there's not much more to say except it's main event time. The biggest main event, the biggest match in the history of All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. Jon Moxley defending the AEW World Heavyweight Championship against the number one contender, the winner of that big contender tournament at Full Gear. That was Kenny Omega. You notice that Don Callis. Now, Bullock and I best remember Don Callis when he was the Jackal back in the WWF in 1997, right around the start of the Attitude Era. You remember that stable he led with the Truth Commission? Recon, Sniper, and Big Kurgan. You remember he had the long hair and was very obnoxious. We all remember that. That was him. That was Don Callis. People like MF and Derek Ferrera would best remember Don Callis as a character named Cyrus over in the old ECW. But Don Callis has history with Kenny Omega, and he sat in with Excalibur, Jim Ross, and Tony Schiavone on commentary. But unfortunately, he ends up being the factor. Winner of the match in 28 minutes and 36 seconds. And new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, the Cleaner, Kenny Omega. But what happened after the match? You see Kenny Omega and Don Callis run away. Alex Marvez was at the right place at the right time. He caught them, and he was like, "What is going on here? What in the world did you just do?" And then Don Callis simply said, "Tuesday, we'll tell you on Tuesday night." He's like, "Tuesday? Dynamite's on Wednesday." And then Don Callis, who, oh, by the way, works for Impact Wrestling, I should know. I watch the show religiously. Come on now. He said Tuesday night on Impact Wrestling, on Access TV, this Tuesday night, he said Kenny and I will explain the whole thing. What? Bullock, I mean, first Sting, now this? Kenny Omega, the new World Heavyweight Champion, Don Callis. Are you telling me that Don Callis are you telling me Kenny Omega might be going to Impact Wrestling with the AEW World Title? Holy guacamole! If this is true, oh my gosh. Bullock, what do you think of all this? What a night! What a match! I mean, first Sting, now this. Oh my god!
I'll tell you this, Florio. If this is true, what was I going to say? Oh, if Kenny Omega is going to Impact Wrestling and he's taking the AEW World Title, AEW's got a big problem because you don't have a world champion. And Florio, you could see in the back, Tony Khan was probably like, "What the hell did you just do, Don Callis?"
Yeah, he opened the doors for him to come in, even though he worked for Impact Wrestling. I mean, he is one of the big executives along with Scott D'Amore, and
the thing is, Florio, I saw a tweet from Don Callis like right after the show, and I hate to bring up bad memories for you, but he pulled a Vince McMahon.
He did
from the Montreal right after the Montreal screw job. Remember when he said Brett screwed Brett?
Did he say Moxley screwed Moxley?
No, he said AEW screwed AEW.
Wow!
Ouch!
Amazing.
Actually, weren't you supposed to lead off on the main event here?
I don't know. I'm just so damn excited. I mean,
yeah, I think you're supposed to because I think I led off on the last thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm just so excited tonight. I mean,
yeah,
that's how great this show was. I mean, I my mind is just so damn screwy right now. It's unbelievable. Okay. It was on its way to being a 5-star classic until the screwy finish there. But it is still the fight of the night. I'm going to give this 4.25 to 4.5 stars. I mean, the match was fantastic up until the overbooked finish, which could have been accomplished without the fake injury spot. It slowed the momentum the performers had built to that point, and while it gave reason for Don Callis to be at ringside, that could have been accomplished through any number of ways, the least of which being the moment Moxley introduced the chairs to the mix in violation of the quote-unquote gentleman's agreement. Speaking of which, it was a brilliant way to establish Omega as a heel by having him spit in the face of his own stipulation. The guy who was so worried about out-wrestling his opponent was the one who sneakily resorted to using weaponry and cheating his way to a victory. It makes him wholly unlikable and will only help him as he looks to emerge as the most hated man in AEW. Which brings us to the biggest development on this show, an apparent working relationship between AEW and Impact Wrestling. Callis revealing Omega will appear Tuesday on Impact is a game changer. The type of development that could breed cross-promotional storytelling. It's not particularly surprising because Impact has shown a willingness to work with other promotions before, and the star power of a Kenny Omega only serves to boost their viewership and awareness. It remains to be seen how this benefits AEW, but there is no denying the buzz of the Screwjob finish will help attract viewers to the show in the coming weeks as they look forward to the latest developments in these massive stories. Oh, my Lord in heaven. What else? What did we just... Like JR said after The Undertaker kicked out of Triple H's tombstone at WrestleMania 27, what did we just see? What did we just see? The best damn AEW Dynamite show. That's what we saw. 4.25 to 4.5 stars. Fight of the night, and you can make an argument this was the greatest match in the history of AEW Dynamite. So there's really not much more to say. I mean, Michael Bullock, I mean, wow. So that happened.
Yeah, that happened. 4.25 to 4.5. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was on its way to 5, but like you said, the screwy finish really took a little bit away. But yeah, I mean, I did hear about the partnership with Impact Wrestling and a AEW, so I'm I'm interested to see what happens come Tuesday night. And but yeah, I mean, but I can tell you one person's not going to be too happy about it, and that is one Mr. John Moxley. And you know what happens when John Moxley gets pissed off? Whew, he's going to want Kenny Omega's blood on him. So this is a fitting way to close out a damn good AEW Dynamite. Winter is coming, so Florio. I don't know what else is there to say. I think you should lead off on the overall thoughts.
I think so too. Um, Now I'm not gonna I am not no let me just say this. I am not gonna give it a perfect 10. I'm not gonna go over the top and say it was a perfect 10 because I mean some of the things could have been a little bit better, honestly. However, I am gonna give this between 8.5 to 9 out of 10. This was an unbelievable show. I mean, they hyped it as the biggest Dynamite in history, and damn it to hell, it lived up to the hype. I mean, that main event that lived up to the hype. I mean, not quite as good as the lights out match they had at the Full Gear in 2019. I mean, that was a 5-star classic. This one here was on its way to being another one until Don Callis got involved. But it is what it is. But man, that match was wow. Go out of your way to see it. I mean, that's how great it was. And all the other matches, were good to solid to font to great. And then, of course, but the only two things are going to be remembered from this show here tonight. Kenny Omega winning the World Heavyweight Championship with Don Callis and then Don Callis dropping that impact bomb. And then the other, of course, the surprise appearance, the shock and awe surprise appearance of the Stinger. I mean, those are the two things that are going to be best remembered about this show. And of course, the Inner Circle implosion and everything else. I mean, we had all the matches were good. I mean, women's match could have been better. That was the worst fight, even though it was default. That was a 2.5 star. All the other matches were 3 stars or higher, and you can't ask for anything more than that. And the ending definitely took a little bit of it away, but still, I mean, this was a damn good Dynamite. It's probably the best Dynamite of 2020 by a mile. So for me, this was a good 8.5 to 9 out of 10, and what a moment. So that's all I can say on that. So Michael Bullock, 8.5 to 9 out of 10. Put the bow on this thing, man. What a night.
Yeah, 8.5 to 9. I mean, this easily beats NXT tonight. I mean, we knew this was going to be a really good show, and boy, howdy, it delivered. I mean, yeah, some of the matches definitely could have been better, but we're going to remember this show for 2 things: Sting arriving in AEW, and Don Callis with the Kenny Omega, of course, winning the AEW title and dropping the whole Impact thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next week, especially on both Tuesday and Wednesday when it comes to this. So 8.5 to 9. Florio, let's put a bow on this.
Yeah, and Bullock, I know for a fact you don't have Access TV, but I know you wish you had it now. I mean, ho ho ho. Um, but um, but I will definitely address the that situation when we get to Ridiculously Raw in a couple of weeks. That will be on the December 14th edition of Ridiculously Raw that I will address what happened on Impact Wrestling as part of my Tony's Take. So But here's the thing, though. Impact Wrestling has a YouTube channel, so you could get on the Impact Wrestling YouTube channel right around 10 o'clock or so. But they usually upload videos from the Impact show throughout the show. So get on the horn with Impact Wrestling for all of you who don't have Access TV. So they have a YouTube channel. I'm subscribed to it, and that's all there is to say on that. So keep an eye out for it. So that will indeed put the bow on this unforgettable night. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We will be back with you tomorrow night at this time, or right around or at the usual time at 10:30, right back here on the Tone 25 for another edition of College Football Thursday. We'll get into the Week 14 action of the college football season. A couple of interesting matchups to get, a lot of interesting games to get into, and we'll address that. And then Friday night, the Cerebral Smack Talk. Hopefully, MF will be back, and in addition to our review of Friday Night SmackDown and our preview of NXT TakeOver War Games, I think since all of us should be there, I'm thinking MF and Didi should be back with us as well. I think that's when we should do our tribute to Pat Patterson and pay our respects to him, and go from there. And then Saturday, NFL Saturday, and then we'll see how MF wants to do the War Games recap, if he'll want to do it on Sunday night or if he'll want to save it for next week's Mayhem. We'll see. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for College Football Thursday, this is Anthony Florio here for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher. Hope to have you back tomorrow. Of course, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, and always and forever FKG 401, the Hardcore Pipe Bomb, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Thursday. And until tomorrow night for College Football Thursday, you've been watching this very special edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, and especially after what we saw tonight on AEW Dynamite, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.